MK Aftermath is an expansion add-on to Mortal Kombat 11, opening up new gameplay possibilities and features now the game has officially passed its 1-year anniversary. Aftermath refers to the extra chapters coming to the main story mode of Mortal Kombat 11, picking up exactly where we left off at the game's original story ending. 5 new chapters will be added, focusing on what happens next and enabling the players to play as the new characters originally not in the game's original story mode. Not only that, but we'll also see the return of a familiar kind of finishing move. Friendships. These light-hearted finishers originated in Mortal Kombat 2 as a tongue-in-cheek way to finish your opponent in a way that went against the grain of the usual violence, and they look sillier than ever. In addition, we'll also see new stages added to the game. Classic stages, the Deadpool and Soul Chamber, both see a return, as well as a new stage in Chronica's Keep and sort of a half-classic, half-new stage in the Retrocade, granting backdrops of familiar stages in a new way. The main meat of this expansion for many players, however, is the addition of 3 new fully playable characters. In true NRS style, it's 2 MK characters and a guest character. Fujin and Sheeva are the returning faces, with RoboCop being the newest guest to join the roster. At this point, we've seen snippets of gameplay from all of them, so we can assume some bases for what they'll do in combat. Fujin is fast and flashy, utilizing his Wind God powers in almost every attack he has. He looks to be high octane with a lot of style behind his attacks. We've already seen many of his old school special moves return, so it's going to be interesting to see how he pans out once players get their hands on him. Fun fact, this will be Fujin's first playable appearance in 14 years in a Mortal Kombat game, as the last time he was playable was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which came out in 2006. Sheeva is a grappler through and through. We've already seen that she has multiple kinds of command grabs in a very brawler-heavy style, an archetype that has a lot of fans in MK11 both casually and competitively. We haven't seen as much gameplay for Sheeva as we have Fujin at this point, but from what we know, she looks like she has the potential to be an absolute menace up close. Finally, RoboCop. The future of law enforcement is looking rather familiar on paper, as he not only features weaponry we've seen him sport in his films, but also some recognizable specials from MK Cyber Ninjas, Cyrax and Sector, within the bombs, rockets, flamethrowers and more, with other guest characters being shown a lot of respect to their source material in not only visuals but gameplay as well. It will be interesting to see if RoboCop continues this trend. So the biggest thing to touch on about that Aftermath video that you just watched is that the whole thing was captured and put together before Aftermath actually released. Now the content is out there for the general public to dive into. We know a lot more about all 3 of the characters that have been put forward to the competitive table, and I think it might be an opportunity to, Mustard, if we could describe each of these 3 new characters in one word, what would they be, starting with Fujin?
Well, for Fujin, it's got to be execution. He is a tricky character to play, especially compared to a lot of characters in the game, in terms of no matter what variation you're playing, he is going to have tricky combos. You're going to need to put a lot of time in the lab just to get used to them. But with any execution-heavy character, that also comes with a lot of reward, right? It feels very rewarding to put in that time to be able to make those characters tick and do some really cool-looking stuff, as Fujin is absolutely one of the swaggiest characters in the game. And when you really get those combos down, it's incredibly fun and rewarding to be the one dishing out. Sheeva, it's got to be mix-ups, in my opinion, because Variation 1, it's about full screen unblockables. You've got the classic stomp that, of course, is very tricky to deal with. Variation 2 is that raw strike throw game that MK11 is so fundamentally strong with as a game, and she gets big payout with the damage, and of course her throws, you get a lot of pressure from them. And then Variation 3, it's just, again, that tried and true NetherRealm overhead low mix-ups, right? An overhead special you can throw out whenever you want, and a low special as well. Both incredibly hard to deal with and very oppressive mix-up wise. But what would you say for RoboCop? zoning, for lack of a better term. It's very clear that RoboCop was made for players that want to have that keep away game, the zoning style where you've got lots of different attacks that can keep opponents at different ranges. And across all of RoboCop's variations, he has those tools in a complete massive amount. Players that like those kind of keep away characters from different NRS games feel right at home with this character. He's got some pretty basic combos, so he's not exactly execution heavy either. It is pure range and pure keep away. Variation 1 has got, fun fact, one of the absolute best command grabs in the game, which also helps a great deal when you're up close. So depending on utility, RoboCop is all about keep away.
PlayStation